Greetings from the blessed and beautiful land of Brazil. And at the same time, I ask for your prayers for the suffering of Brazil through exploitation and devastation of ambitious multinationals and corrupt leaders. Thanks to the invitation of dear Sister Eleanor, I have the opportunity to share with you my intense and long missionary life in Brazil with you. My name is Malathi. When I was 16 years old, I entered the ICM congregation and made my vows at the age of 19. When I entered, I did not dream of being a missionary out of India. Even that time, our congregation did not think of sending missionary to the other worlds because only the sisters from the first world came to the third world to be missionaries. Luckily, the Vatican II called for a renewal in the church, and the missionary vocation became common for all of us. In my first missionary life in India, I was preparing myself through studies to be a teacher for the deaf, and I worked as a principal of a deaf school in Mumbai for 3 years. Then came another call from God through our superiors so that at least some of the Indian sisters may volunteer to go to another mission. Once again, this call disturbed me, but by the help of one elderly Jesuit priest, I could discern God's call and place myself available for any mission which is in need of. Our superiors found, knowing me and the mission in Brazil, I could go there. Reaching Brazil as a first Indian ICM missionary, I had a cultural shock because I come from a traditional culture of India. But by the help of our sisters and by the welcoming spirit of the Brazilians, I could feel at home. I came to Brazil at the time of political crisis, and the regime was one of dictatorship. We were 30 foreigners with tourist visa in the language school. 29 of them had to leave. I begged our sisters that I could go to Brasilia, the capital of Brazil, to see for myself if I could get the visa. Since we did not have a place in a convent in Brasilia, we asked the conference of bishops to give a place for us, and they gave me an address, and I went there, and it happened to be a school for the deaf run by Pavonian fathers. When I was there, I went to play with the children. The director of the school was amazed how I could be with the children when so many people come to that house. They did not give attention to the children. And I said, I am a teacher for the deaf. And he said, this is the way we can get the visa. So I got my visa with my diploma for the teacher for the deaf, and it was really God's plan because God had prepared me long back by preparing me to be a teacher for the deaf. During the first 5 years of my religious life in Brazil, I was living in a multicultural community. Even today I live in a multicultural community. It was the first time I was living in a multicultural community where there were 2 Belgians, 2 Filipino sisters and myself. It was a challenging as well as enriching experience. And I was fully engaged in basic Christian communities. I have learned a lot from these communities. Like for example, I could read the Bible in a different way, connecting it with faith and the struggle of the people today. So I could commit myself to the struggles of the people. And the lifestyle was very simple, and I was contented with simple lifestyle and the simple way of receiving people in our houses. The next 10 years I spent in the Trans-Amazon area in the state of Para. In this I spent 8 years in an interior village called Tipishuna, and other 2 years I lived in the periphery of the city of Maraba. These were the years of challenging as well as life-giving years. The village where we lived, there was no corporation water. We were using well water. We had no electricity, no telephone. The public school was till 4th standard. One of the sisters with whom I lived was Sister Agnes Winkier, who had been a missionary in Philippines and came to Brazil as one of the pioneering sisters in the year 1965. She was a teacher by profession. We both worked in the public school and raised the standard to 8th standard. The children who were slow learners became fast learners with the training we gave. During their free hours and holidays, the children and young people came to our house and learned to stitch, hear stories from Agnes, to play in our backyard. The parents were happy that the children had all-round formation. Now that village has turned into a city and has an university. The students who were with us are now teachers, community leaders, catechists, syndicate leaders, and political leaders. People have built a school in the name of Agnes Winkier. This gives us a great joy to see the growth of these people. When I was in the periphery of Maraba, that was the time Sister Eleanor arrived as a young sister, and she helped Sister Agnes Winkier in the pastoral of child. It was a place of violence and we experienced a lot of massacre. But we as the church stood with the poor and suffering. Then I was called to Itaguaí, a city in the state of Rio de Janeiro, to help in the formation of young girls who desired to become ICMs. These were years of service and learning. The formation was given in the milieu of insertion among people. We lived a simple lifestyle. The formation was together with other congregations who had also young ones. We had a good bonding with other congregations. One experience in Itaguaí struck me very much, and it goes with me till today. And we were living among the people, and one of the women, elderly woman who was called Benedicta, she had a son who was a little retarded, mentally different, no? So they were from the interior, and they brought every week the vegetables to sell in the market. So we used to buy from them. One day they said the son of Benedicta was killed. I went to see her, and it was by playing that a friend of the son of Benedicta killed her son. And Benedicta was telling this story, and she said, In the beginning, I felt so angry with that boy. I wanted to hand him over to the police. But after that, I saw that image of Our Lady with Jesus dead on her lap. So I said, if she did not take revenge, I also will not take revenge. So she called the boy who killed her son, and she said, "You are our friend. You have been our friend, and you can be the friend always." So she received him. So I was really struck how this simple analphabet woman can do such a great gesture. So it goes with me till today. For the last 15 years, I am involved in an organization which is engaged in assisting the street population, and also in another center which recuperates the chemically dependent persons. This service helped me in growing in compassion while listening to their stories of suffering, and also create ways to free them from their inner burden with constant listening, and also through the exercises of relaxation, meditation, and spirituality. Now with the COVID situation, we do the services online with the groups of meditation, divine reading of the Bible. Moreover, many people are in depression. The pastoral of listening through WhatsApp and encouraging them with positive messages in Facebook are the ways of helping them out as missionary service. I will wind up here. Thanks for your patient listening. I am happy for my religious long life. 53 years I am in the congregation with my vows, and in these 43 years I am in Brazil. 3 years back, when I went for holidays, they found that I had breast cancer, and I was treated for that. And after 1 year, they said I could go back to Brazil, and I feel the God who is within me is greater than the cancer, and He is still very alive in me. May God be praised, and I can also sing with Our Lady that God has done great things for me. Once again, I thank Sister Eleanor for her goodness to invite me to talk to you all. Thank you all for listening. May God be praised, and God bless you all.